Travel blogger Lee Abamonte makes his living traveling and posting about it. When the pandemic first hit, he sheltered in place. But his business soon crashed. After a few months, he hit the road again. The reaction to his posts were largely positive, but there were some negative comments.
People try to shame in a variety of ways, just basically like snide comments, essentially like, oh, I guess the pandemic's over. Or, if you post a picture, for instance, playing golf or something without a mask, and they're like, oh, you're not wearing a mask. It's like, I'm outside by myself.
Michael Traeger, who specializes on blogging about casinos, says there have always been people who tried to shame others for traveling, but things have gotten much worse amid the pandemic.
The people who are stuck in their day to day, who see the people who are more nomadic or the people who travel more, they were always a little bit jealous and grumpy about that to begin with. And now it's a whole nother level.
That's in part because the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is advising against non-essential travel.
Every time that there's a surge in travel, we have a surge in cases in this country. We are really trying to restrain travel at this current period of time.
Peak travel holidays have led to upticks in COVID-19 cases in the United States, but the CDC says the majority of those cases are linked to social gatherings, not travel itself. Many travelers insist travel can be done safely if protocols like avoiding gatherings, masking, testing, and social distancing are followed, but there's always a risk of spreading the virus. With millions of Americans still largely confined to their homes, there is a wide variety of opinions on whether it is ethical to travel right now and post about it at a time when so many are struggling amid the pandemic. Psychology professor June Tangney says the problem is shaming, as a general rule, isn't effective in getting people to change their behavior.
I think, if anything, people tend to get angry and defensive. They tend to minimize the impact of their behavior on others instead of thinking about it.
The author of Shame Nation says people who shame others do so at their own risk.
Your online behavior is a reflection of your offline character. So you have to be really, really careful. I always tell people it's rather to be constructive rather than be combative online. There just are no winners when you're throwing out those insults.
Krista Thomason, an associate professor of philosophy, says people are justified in having concerns about non-essential travel, but there are more constructive ways to go about expressing them.
There are lots of ways that we can communicate with each other about what our standards and values are and what our expectations are as a community that don't require shaming. So we can talk to people, we can do, respectful kinds of criticism. We can ask people questions about what they're thinking, what their motivations are, without doing any of the shamings.
Karina Huber, CGTN.